Have you been looking for a piece of ephemera that's going to give you a lot more journaling space? I think this is the one you might have been looking for. So you open it up like this, you hang on to the tag, and you pull it out. Look at all that journaling space. Then you have the other side, and then you have that crinkly sounding paper that we love that you can journal on too. And then you just fold it right back up. You can pop it into a pocket or a belly band, and we're going to make this together today. Won't you join me? Hi Best Buds, it's Cathy with Cathy's Garden, and I'm so happy that you've joined me today. Today we're going to make that piece of ephemera that has so much journaling space on it, and it's really cute. Now I used a little spot right here. I know it's not a lot, it's small, but I made it by doing this. So I'm going to show you how I did this. We're going to do a smaller version. This is tracing paper. I'm going to fold it in half the long way. It is not coffee dyed. It is just regular tracing paper. And I think it's on the heavier side. And I have a little bottle that has a fine tip on it. I filled it with my metallic folk art antique gold. Now you could fill it with any paint color that you want. There we go. So it's like a pen that you can use. And I'm just, well, you could actually write words. You could put X's. You could put circles with dots in the middle. Absolutely any design that you want. Now the fold is right here. I'm not going across the fold. So let's see. Just to give you some ideas of what you can do, how it will look. You get the idea. Let's see. Go like this maybe. Okay, I think I have what I want on here. Okay, you get the idea. Now I'm going to fold it. I'm going to just cover that right over the top like that, and then I'm going to open it up. Look at that. Now I'm going to let it dry. And when I let it dry, it's going to turn out to be something like this when it's completely dry. And then you could use it for pieces of ephemera, like I'm going to do right now. I'm going to tear a strip down like this, and I'm going to squish it up like this. And then when I open it up, I'm going to take my distressed oxide spun sugar, and I'm just going to color it a little bit, just add a little bit of interest to it. I'm also going to bring in my vintage photo, and I'm going to highlight the edge of my paper. Alright, so now it looks like that. Alright, so now I do believe we can continue and make this piece of ephemera. I have a piece of coffee dyed coffee weight paper, and I'm going to fold it in half the long way, crease it. I'm going to take my tear ruler, and I'm going to put it in the crease, and then I'm going to tear my piece of paper down like this. I've already done that with my tracing paper, the coffee dyed tracing paper. I have torn it into a strip. Now my tracing paper is a little bit longer than my coffee dyed copy paper, but that's okay. That's not going to hurt anything. Let's take the second one, because this was one piece and we ripped it in half. Let's take this piece and we're going to want to cut it at about 6.5 inches. So I need to tear it or cut it however you want, right here, just like that. And then we're going to fold this in half. This is going to be our cover for our little piece of ephemera. I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to ink it up with that spun sugar. I think that's what it was called. Yes, with the spun sugar. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a pink tinge. And I'm going to do all the edges, even the inside. And then after I do with the spun sugar, I'm going to get my sponge with my vintage photo, and I'm just going to kind of hit it here and there. I'm not going to make that dark everywhere because I want that pink to show, but I do want it to have a little bit of that aged brown color. Go ahead and take a little time and actually color it up like this. It just adds great interest to this, and it makes it very, what's the word, vintage, shabby chic kind of looking. This really helps in that, giving it that look. All right, so I've got a piece of ephemera here, and I think I'm going to use this one. Now, this is too big to put on there, but I'm going to get my scissors, and you see where it's arched right here? I'm going to trim that part out, and that's the part that we're going to use on the cover of our piece of ephemera. So if you have something like this that you can use, or maybe you can cut a rectangle with an arch on the top out of some pretty paper pad paper, get something out of a magazine, something like that. But just want a little image, some type of image, and we're going to be placing it here. Bring my dish in. I need to ink this up, so a little bit more of this spun sugar on here, and then a little bit of the vintage photo. I'm going to glue my little piece of ephemera down. I'm going to use my art glitter glue. I'm going to add my glue. I have a piece of coffee dyed tracing paper that I've crinkled up. And then I've taken my spun sugar and I've brushed it, and then I took my vintage photo and I brushed it and I highlighted the edges, and it ended up looking like this. Now it's time to add my little piece of crinkled up tracing paper. So here we go. And I'm actually going to kind of crinkle it up just a little bit. And then I'm just going to rip this on the edge. I'm not going to cut it since I've been ripping all these. And I want that to stick out. That's, well, maybe not that much. I don't know that I can get a hold of it. I might have to rip it this way. Now, because I've ripped it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink it up a little bit. I've got my little piece that, you know, that we colored. And I'm going to crinkle this one up also. And I'm going to take this just kind of scritch it up right there, right on the corner, adding my art glitter glue. So it's really kind of wadded on there. It's not so thick that it's going to bother if it sticks in a pocket or anything like that. It's just soft paper. It's tracing paper. Now I have in my dish a little tiny sewing flower. It's a sewing trim, and I'm going to place it right there. I'm going to use my Surebonder High Temp with that specialty tip to glue it down, just so it's glued and I know it's going to stay. I have some flat back pearls, little tiny ones right here in my dish. Let's put that in the center. I also have this beautiful Sari silk from Crimson Heart Studios. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to tear it a little narrower. I don't want it to be so wide. That's plenty. Let's tie a little bow. So a loop around my pointer finger, pull that piece of ribbon through or sari silk, and we're going to stick this right here on the side going this way. So I'm going to use my hot glue gun. I'm going to glide on the hot glue, and then let's do a little bit up here, a little bit of glue, and tuck it right up in there. Let it be blousy. Don't make it real tight. Right, so now we look just like that for our cover. It's really very soft and sweet looking. Now for our pages. We have 2 of our strips. Let's start with the coffee dyed copy weight strip. Before I start folding, I'm going to use my ink, the spun sugar, and I'm going to put it on the paper as well as on the edge. Let's start with the coffee dyed strip, and we're going to fold it over. We're going to fold it over 3 1/4 inches approximately, something like that. Okay, give it a crease. And then we're going to fold it one more time. And the crease. Now you have a little bit of one right here. Fold that over. This should fit right inside of our cover, like that. And we need to fold our coffee dyed tracing paper. Now I'm going to use this as my template, and I'm going to fold this over, just crease it, and then fold it over again, and crease it. And you can have a little bigger piece that's remaining. Oh, it sounds so wonderful, doesn't it? You want to fold this way. So it's kind of going to be like this. And so we want the same thing to happen to the tracing paper. So the tracing paper follows along with the copy weight paper. The little flaps are right here. Let's bring in our cover, and this is going to stick out just a little bit, but that's okay. I like the way that looks. You can center it a little more if you would like. And have a little bit coming out down here as well as up there. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's glue our flaps onto the back of our cover. Using my art glitter glue, I'm going to add my glue. And then I'm going to add glue to this flap. Now you could decorate these pages any way you want. You could use some stamping, you could use some stickers, you could use some fussy cuts, you could leave it plain, however you would like to do it. But I want to do one more thing here. Right here on the coffee dyed paper, I have punched out some tabs, and I'm going to attach my tab right here so it sticks out like that. This little tab just helps in the fact that You can grab a hold of this and you can pull out your papers. You can flip them over. Oh my goodness, look at all that journaling space. I think this piece of ephemera is absolutely fantastic. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if you have, please give me a thumbs up. I invite you to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. I'll see you there, guys. Bye now.